I'm having a goddamn hot flush. Hello. It has been a long time since I have done a sit down video. Most of my recent videos have been vlogs, and currently right now I'm doing Vlogmas, but I have decided to do a little bit of a different Vlogmas kind of idea. If you follow me on my social media, predominantly Instagram, maybe Twitter as well, you would know that I recently have been very unwell, and I'm very open about my chronic illnesses. So yeah, this video, if you can tell by the title as well as it being Vlogmas, I'm going to talk about my story with endometriosis and polycystic ovaries. So currently it will be 3 weeks tomorrow since I had my 7th operation, 6th laparoscopy, but my 3rd operation this year, and I'm actually supposed to be in work right now, and I had to call in sick yesterday and today because I physically couldn't get out of bed. The pain is bad. My nausea is insane. I'm having hot flushes every 10 to 15 goddamn minutes. I can actually feel one coming on right now. I'm 26 and I'm going through the menopause. Yeah, I'm actually literally having a hot flush right now. Like, I have one leg out of the bed, I'm wearing little short underwear, and I'm about to pass out with the heat that I'm in right now. That is a side effect of the menopausal injection I'm on, which is only temporary. It only lasts about 3 months and then I have to get it again. But the side effect is a hot flush. Like, I'm going through the menopause and hot flushes are the major thing. I get one about every 10 to 15 minutes post-op this time. Usually I get one every 2 hours or so before my operation, but post-op I'm getting one every 10 to 15 minutes. And my belly button incision has just popped. Okay, so this video I'm going to explain about my story, and most people who are watching this probably already know because A, you know me and I've told you, B, you might have read my blog post that I have previously posted about my conditions. I was going to say C, but I don't even know what the C is. Again, another side effect is that I have memory loss and I can't remember anything really. But yeah, I really just want to share my story and try and clear up any misinformation that there is about endometriosis and polycystic ovaries at the moment, because there is a lot. And so many people have been asking more questions after this operation. People that I work with, people who follow me on Instagram, Twitter, people that I've known all my life. So maybe this video might be able to further inform you of information. So yeah, I started having really bad abdominal pain when I was about 10 or 11, and I was diagnosed with rumbling appendix. And I started my period when I was about 11, and it's always been painful, but never to the extent that it was when I was about 18, 19, and it got so much worse. But I'd been admitted to A&E on and off from the ages of 11 up until 18 and 19, and told it was still rumbling appendix or IBS. Not once was I told it was endometriosis or Pcos, and I just went on with my life and endured this pain. I went on Racetine in 2015, I think it was, for my acne because it had gotten so bad. And now looking back, I feel like my acne had gotten bad because of my polycystic ovaries, because it is a huge side effect that you get really bad acne. And if you watch last year's Vlogmas, my very first video, I'm talking about how bad my acne was all this side of my face. Now thankfully it is cleared up, but that's because I'm on more medication for that. But yeah, I feel like that was a huge alarm bells that we just covered it up by taking Rocketing. But I had to go on Cerazette, a pill, for the whole period of time while I was on Rocketing. When I came off, my periods became so much more painful. Like, oh my god, I remember one day standing in the kitchen and I said to my mum, if this is what childbirth is like, I do not want to have a child. I was in excruciating pain. I couldn't walk. I was like bent over, crouching on my stomach. Like, it was so bad, and it just progressively got worse. And this was January 2016, and sorry if I keep doing this, it's because I'm very nauseous. And I had to Uber Eats to McDonald's today so I could get 7-Up, because there's none in the house and I can't walk to the shop, and the shop is so far away. I'm just going to take a drink, 1 second. But yeah, then fast forward to June 2016, and I have been bedridden for about a week with pain. I hadn't eaten, and my parents were sick of seeing me in pain and not eating, so we went to A&E, and I was 5 days on a bed, to and fro between a surgeon and a gynecologist, surgeon, gynecologist, having every goddamn test under the sun, and nothing was showing up. But they could see I was in pain. All my stats were showing that I was in pain. So one of the surgeons said, look, we'll have a laparoscopy to see what's going on. Even if your appendix aren't causing you a problem, we'll remove them so that we know from future on, if this happens again, that it's not your appendix. When they open me up, they discover such a mess that they actually couldn't remove my appendix. My right ovary had produced a cyst that had ruptured and bled and all nasty stuff around the lower abdomen, meaning that they had to remove it all, and it was a very intense surgery. So yeah, I woke up and I was in a lot of pain, so much pain that my stats were very low, and I was being monitored for 24 hours and on oxygen for, I think it was about 10 hours after the operation. No, 5 hours that time. It was a lot longer the second time round. Yeah, so then I went home. I was actually unable to walk for a really long time, so I was wheelchair bound, because at the same time I was going to Brazil for the Olympics. And then I went back to college. I was in my final year and I was in pain, but I was like, do you know what, maybe this is just post-op pain. It does take about 6 months before you feel fine after an operation. So I was like, right, it's grand. Christmas 2016 comes and I am so sick. I couldn't eat Christmas dinner. I was literally wrapped up with a hot water bottle, curled up in the fetus position the whole time. I remember one evening, I think it was St. Stephen's night, crying because all my friends were out celebrating while I was in bed, hardly able to eat. I think I hadn't eaten in about 4 days, and yeah, I was just not well. And we had our Christmas celebration dinner on the 1st of January, and I spent most of that in bed, and I didn't eat all that day, I don't think. And on January 2nd, my mum asked me did I want to go to hospital, and for me to turn around and say yes, she knew that something was majorly wrong. Sorry if I'm frowning, it's because I'm getting waves of pain. So yeah, I went to hospital on January 2nd. Again, I was 5 days waiting to find out what was wrong, and again they were like, right, we'll have another laparoscopy, because nothing was showing up in an ultrasound or bloods or anything like that. And again, they found more polycystic cysts on my ovary, but they were like, oh, your right one is quite bad, but your left one is, it's okay, it's not that bad, you'll be fine. No endometriosis mentioned. So that was grand. I had the operation. I actually had to submit my thesis 2 weeks after, which was intense. Like, that recovery period was insane. Everyone will know that I'm actually insane in the head, and I try to get back to my life 2 weeks after this operation, which is completely bogus for me, and I know myself that I shouldn't be doing it, but for my mental health I feel like I need to try and get some normality back into my life. But hey, I managed to write my thesis those 2 weeks that I was recovering at home before going back to college, and ended up getting an A1 and presenting it, and winning an award for presenting it, so you know, I don't think I done too bad. Anyway, I'm, as some of my favorite YouTubers in America go, I digress. Moving back onto topic, I went to see my gynecologist and they put me on Yasmin, and I was in so much pain that I was like, I don't care what I'm taking, I'll take anything if it eases my pain. So I went on Yasmin and I got manically depressed. Like, it would be so bad that I would be shouting and crying and argumentative with everyone. Like, my poor mom was at the brunt of it because I would spend a lot of time with her, and I would cry and shout if I dropped a piece of paper on the floor, which is insane. Like, that's not something to be getting so upset about. But I just felt like I was a failure. Like, I was not in control of my body. My pain was getting worse. The tablet was absolutely doing nothing for me. So I had a conversation with my mom, actually on the way up to Justin Bieber in June 2017, and said that I was stopping taking the pill. So I stopped, and then I asked, could I see my gynecologist again? I was waiting, so that was June. It was October when I saw my gynecologist again, which is an insane amount of time to be waiting to see your gynecologist publicly. I was not paying privately at this stage. So then I tried to live my best life that summer, and I went to America. But on that trip there was 2 days in San Francisco where I had to bail out of stuff because I was in so much pain because of my period. Now I should highlight, endometriosis does not mean bad period pain, it just means it's worse when you have your period. And I was going to highlight that in a minute, but just because I mentioned it there, I don't want anyone to think just because I had a bad period means that that's what endometriosis is. No, that's not at all what it is. It's just worse because it's worse when you have your period. So yeah, sorry, I digressed again. So yeah, in October I went to my gynecologist and I saw an understudy, and she put me on a micropill, but never asked or never checked my file to see did I suffer from migraines. And again, I didn't ask any questions. I'm like, at the time I was so naive where I was just like, I'll take anything to ease this pain. I was on the tablet 4 days and I had the worst migraine of my life. When I went to my GP, she said that I was 1 tablet away from having a brain hemorrhage. So I was told never ever to go on a pill again. Sorry, my nausea is so bad today. So that was that. I ended up, I can't really remember how it turned up, but I ended up going to see a general surgeon, and I'd seen him on and off for the other 2 surgeries I had in the same hospital, and he sent me for a mecal scan, a CT scan, and another scan I can't remember. And I went back to see him, and when he'd done like just a physical examination on me, he was like, no, we need to have a laparoscopy like ASAP. And I remember I was flying to see my friend Sarah on the Friday. I went to the doctor on the Wednesday, and I was flying to see Sarah on the Friday, and my emergency surgery was going to be on the Monday, and I was flying home on the Monday, so I had to fly home Sunday night, and that was such a disaster. Like, I had to pay more money, and but anyway, sorry, I'm getting really uncomfortable. So yeah, I had the surgery, and when he opened me up, he discovered a lot of adhesions, lots of cysts, and then he said, for the first time, so this is my 3rd laparoscopy, you need to see a gynecologist. There's endometriosis and a lot of it. So he referred me back to the gynecologist I had been seeing, and that's where my mental health started to get really, I'm not gonna cry. Okay, I will try not cry for the remainder of this video, but please bear with me if I do. I am very vulnerable today. Yeah, so it was when I went back to this gynecologist to see what could be done. She said to me it was my fault that I was not curable because I suffer with my mental health and that I suffer with migraines. So her hands were tied and there was nothing she could do for me. Her solution was that I went to a pain management doctor, and yeah, that was that. So she was literally like, you're too complicated, I'm doing nothing with you. I remember walking out of that office and mom was like, well, and I was like, we need to leave, because I was about to break down. And when we got into the car, I was like, she said that it's my fault that I'm suffering, and that's absolutely horrible to say to someone who has this condition, because I never asked for this. No one ever asks for endometriosis or PCOS or any chronic illness at all. No one ever asks to be sick. And the reason why we have a healthcare system is to prevent us from being in pain, to help us when we're in pain, and to help make us better. And for a doctor to turn around and say that to me was absolutely horrific. Anyway, I pulled myself together and was still in immense pain. Like, you have no idea. On a daily basis I could be somewhere between 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 in pain, but I brave it. I put on a pain patch, I take several pain medication. If I'm in pain, I grin and bear it. Like, I literally you become an actress when you get endometriosis and PCOS. You literally put on this mask and you're like, I'm gonna try and live a normal life no matter how hard it is, and you have no idea how hard it is sometimes. So yeah, I went back. This was now oh my god, I've had so many surgeries that I can't remember. So yeah, so this is now January 2018, so last year. I was starting my new job, and again, I literally was like 2 weeks after the operation. I was like, I'm not letting this stop me have a job that I want. I moved up to Dublin and I was still no better. Like, a couple of months in, actually I'm laughing, Rebecca, my really good friend who I met because of that job, is now texting me saying that she's found someone who's also Irish who's had to travel to the UK for surgery, and she's just telling me about. But it came to June and I was still no better. I was in a lot of pain. Rebecca will actually vouch for this. There was days of work where I couldn't eat. I was really, really bad. Sorry, I'm getting a cramp in my stomach. And I went to my GP and she was like, right, let's just do some hormonal blood tests. That was the first time in the 2 years where a doctor had suggested hormonal blood test. I don't think when I've had the 3 previous laparoscopies that I had been tested for my hormones. So a week later I went back to my doctor, my GP, and she looked at the blood results, and 2 of my hormones, I cannot remember off the top of my head right now, but 2 of my hormones were so abnormally low that she got a fright. And for my doctor to get a fright, I was like, fuck, there's something wrong. So she referred me to my now gynecologist. So this was Thursday evening. She sent a fax that evening. I sent a letter on Friday, and on the Monday morning the secretary rang my mum and asked if I could go down to Kilkenny on Wednesday to see my now gynecologist. So went into my managers in work and was like, I need Wednesday off, I have to go see a gynecologist. Went down, and for the first time I had a gynecologist that actually wanted to hear my side of the story rather than read notes, and I felt that he wanted to help me. And you have no idea what that feels like, having a doctor wanting to hear how you feel. He wanted to know how my pain was, like what my life was like. And when he done an ultrasound, he could see endo and cyst, and this was Wednesday, and he said, what are you doing on Friday? And I was like, oh well, I have work. And he was like, no you don't, because you're coming in for surgery first thing Friday morning. So I went in. This was now going to be my 4th laparoscopy. He then done the laparoscopy, and when he came out he said that yes, I have severe polycystic ovary and stage 2/3 endometriosis, and that he burnt any visible endo from my body. I have now learned that burning endo does not get rid of it. So basically he was just sugarcoating like, oh yeah, he's like scraping it out but not actually getting rid of the root of the problem, if that kind of makes sense. But yeah, he was like, I went back like 6 weeks later and he put me on metformin, which is a diabetic tablet. That's great. My auntie who has diabetes is on that tablet, and me who does not have diabetes is also on that tablet. Just, it's really weird. I'm on so much medication that is actually for other conditions as well, which is crazy. Like Decadeptil, the injection I'm on, is actually for cancer, and metformin is for diabetics. So the two of them are also helpful for PCOS and endo. Really weird, but anyway. He was like, I hope I won't see you for 5 years. What I've done hopefully will have given you a new lease of life. And I was like, oh my god, finally, for the first time in 2.5 years I'll have a life. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I was so happy. Oh god. Last Christmas, again, I was not great. I was not the best. My acne was getting worse. I wasn't eating. I was lethargic. I was in a lot of pain, but again, braving it, you know, trying to live my best life. And I ended up quitting my job because I physically wasn't, I knew something needed to be done, and I knew I needed another operation. So I quit my job and went back to my doctor, my new gynecologist. When he saw me, he was very confused, and he said, right, let's have another laparoscopy, and this time put the coil in, so we'll stop your period altogether. When he done the laparoscopy, he removed more cysts, burnt more endo, and put in the coil. Grant. He was like, right, this should be fine now. You should be okay. June. So this is all this year. June, May comes, and I'm no better. I'm so sick. I'm hardly able to eat. I'm in so much pain, and I was just not well. And one day I was home, and I'm still unemployed at this rate, and I said to my mum, right, let's go to A&E. So I went to my local A&E, and I had bloods done, and immediately was sent up to gynecology. I saw 2 trainee gynecologists, and they said they done an internal probe, which, oh my god, hurt like hell. And they said, right, yeah, you see that, yeah. And then they were like, all right, so you know you have endometriosis. And I was like, yes. And they're like, well, yeah, there's a lot of endometriosis, but there's nothing we can do. So our only solution is you go home, take some paracetamol and rest for a bit. Paracetamol. Like, I wish I could convey the level of pain that I'm in, that no goddamn paracetamol was going to help this pain. Like, I needed something stronger. I remember getting into the car and crying the whole way home again. The amount of times that I've sat in the front seat of my mum's car and cried coming home from a hospital is not right. And I don't want anyone ever to go through the amount of times that I've done that. Like, that feeling of being like, there's actually nothing anyone can do for me, is horrible. Oh dear God, here I go again, crying. Yeah, so I was like, right, I'll go home and take paracetamol. For good luck, I had other painkillers that had been prescribed by my GP, and I took them, and I was like, right, hopefully in a few days this will pass. A week later, I was still no better. I hadn't eaten anything in about a week. I had lost about 2 stone in a week, and I was getting ready to go to a concert in Dublin, and if you know me, concerts are my life, and I collapsed basically in the kitchen. I came down to say to my mum that I wasn't feeling well at all, that my legs were wobbly and they were going beneath me. So my mum got a fright and she rang the secretary of my gynecologist, and they said get me down immediately. So I went down, and I actually said this to my mum today. It is really, really difficult sitting in a gynecology waiting room while there is several other women heavily pregnant, knowing that that might not be an option for you, but you're in so much pain that you actually don't care if that's not an option for you. And I remember that day being like, I actually can live with the thought of not having a child as long as I'm not in pain anymore. And like, I want to be a mom so bad, but for me to say that must mean that I'm in a lot of pain. And I remember walking into my doctor and he got a fright when he saw me, because I was so unwell. Oh god, okay, think I'm okay there. Yeah, I was so unwell. So he done an ultrasound immediately, and he found a 7-centimeter hemorrhaging cyst on my right ovary that my endometriosis was attaching to and causing it to spread. So he put me down for emergency surgery the Friday, and I went in and he done all the same things again, removed the cyst, burnt the endo and whatever. I went back 6 weeks later, and then I said to him, I was like, you need to do something. I physically and mentally am exhausted from this continuous cycle. You promised me last year that it would be 5 years before I've seen you, and I've seen you twice this year already. So he put me on Decapitectal. As I mentioned earlier on, this is the injection that is mainly actually used for cancer treatments, but it can put you in temporary menopause. So he wanted me to not be any way ovulating or fertile or anything at all. Literally nothing happening in this lower region. And I've had 2 injections. So I had the first one, and again, no real major improvement. Like, I was still nauseous, still in a bit of pain. That was grand. I got my dream job in October, and we went to Lisbon for a conference, and while out there I was in quite a bit of pain, but again, I'm a great actress at this rate, and I was well able to like cover it up and get on with what I had to do. And we came back and I significantly got sicker. I remember that Friday, sorry, I'm just looking at my calendar now. Yeah, so I got home on the 11th, and that Friday I knew something wasn't right. I was really unwell, and then that Saturday I went down to Limerick to see Valerie and Robbie, my old housemates, and Valerie had to get me a hot water bottle. I had to lie on the floor. I was really unwell, and that Sunday I still wasn't getting any better. Went to work on Monday, didn't eat anything at all. Tuesday comes and my colleague Clarissa looked at me and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine, I'm in a bit of pain but I'm fine." And she was like, "Go home." And I was like, "No, I'm fine, I'm fine." It took her 3 more times to ask me was I okay before I actually was like, "I don't think I am." And she spoke to one of my bosses and said, "Was it okay if I went home?" And he was like, "Yes, go home." So I got a taxi home, and in the taxi on the way home I texted my mum and said, "Come up to Dublin, you have to bring me to Kilkenny." So I went straight to Kilkenny, and by the time that I got down to Kilkenny, the pain had increased so much that when I got to the hospital they were like, "Oh, you need to go to A&E," but they're like, "Let me just ring your gynecologist to see what he says." And he said to admit me straight away, and when they put the blood pressure monitor on me, my blood pressure was 198 over 122, and the nurses gave out to me and said that I was on the verge of having a heart attack. That frightened me, that I was in that much pain, that I was causing the rest of my body pain. I got 3 injections immediately for pain and for nausea, and for the first time in a couple of days I had eaten. I had some toast and I managed to keep it down. I stayed in, that was Tuesday, and I stayed in hospital until Friday. On the Wednesday I found out I was having my 7th operation, my 3rd this year. And when he opened me up, he discovered that my bowel was beginning to attach to my right ovary, and that my endometriosis is on my bladder and my bowel, meaning now that it's stage 4. So yeah, that has been my story with endo. It is now, as I said, 3 weeks post-op tomorrow, and I'm still no better. Like, I know it takes time after an operation, but the fact that I've had to call in sick to work these past 2 days is really, really tough. Now when I'm posting this, it'll be over Christmas, so right now it is the 12th of December. My wounds got infected. I'm so stubborn that I was demanding that I went back. Like, I'm only ever given a week off after the operation. That's all you ever need to recover, apparently. So I made a bargain with my GP that I'd go back to work part-time. So I went back to work last Monday and Tuesday part-time, and then Wednesday, Thursday and Friday we had our off-site, and it was like our Christmas party, and I didn't want to miss it. It's my first one, so I grinned and bared as much as I could, but I was in a lot of pain, and I probably pushed myself too much, but I'm young. I want to experience these incredible opportunities that I'm being given. And then I went back to work this Monday and Tuesday, but yesterday, today, I've just been so sick. Yesterday I physically could not lift the lower half of my body out of bed for at least 4 or 5 hours. I had to take 2 lots of really strong medication, and today my nausea has been so insane. I think I've lost, last week I'd lost 6 kg post-op, and I think I've lost another bit since. But yeah, I don't know really what else I wanted to say in this video. I had made some notes. Sorry, I had made some notes, but like, they're not really making sense, to be honest, and I've kind of covered all of them. But yeah, like, after this operation I've had to get a walking stick because I'm so weak with the pain. I've also had to go on sleeping tablets because up until, so my operation was the 22nd, up until the 28th of November I had not slept once. The sleeping tablets worked for 4 days and now they have not. Like, it's little things like walking up the stairs that take such an effort out of me. I can't, like, it's a struggle to tie my shoelaces. Like, there's so many knock-on side effects that come with endometriosis and polycystic ovaries that some people like literally take for granted, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's just tough. It is really tough. And I'm not saying that my condition is worse than anybody else. Like, everyone has their own battles, and I have a lot of family members that have their own illnesses and they're going through really tough times, but mine is pretty shit and it is really tough. I'm sorry, I know Joe hates when I burp, but I'm really nauseous. But yeah, I said to my mum today that last night I had the realization that if I don't get some sort of normality in the next 5 years, I'll probably have to quit work. That's something I really don't want to do. Like, I shouldn't have to do that. I just want to be able to have a normal life where I'm not in pain. I asked my parents this year if there was any way that they could get me a new like abdomen for Christmas, because on top of all that I suffer with body dysmorphia and my stomach looks a mess. Like, it's bandaged up. It's bandaged up at the moment, but this one here, like, I don't have a belly button anymore. Like, it's literally just like lines and lines. I have so many scars on my stomach. But yeah, that's my life. And yet I still manage to smile somehow. Someone told me I was incredibly strong the other day. My boss. My manager, I mean. And I looked at her and I was like, I don't feel like I am. And she was like, you have no idea how strong you are. And I don't look very strong right now while crying on camera. But yeah. But I wanted to say that this week Endometriosis Ireland, which is a voluntary organisation, had a meeting with TDs to see if they could fight on our behalf to try get a centre of excellence in Ireland for endometriosis and have surgeons and gynecologists who are trained to carry out proper surgeries, rather than people like me have 7+ surgeries and still have no answer and be on ridiculous amounts of medication. This is the amount of medication that I'm on. I cannot go out anywhere without this. I'm on painkillers, I'm on sleeping tablets, I have stuff for my bowels because my bowels don't go, I have migraine tablets, acne tablets, sickness tablets, more painkillers, pain patches, more painkillers, and then there are my bandages. Like, for 26 I shouldn't be on that much medication. Like, that is ridiculous. So yeah, and today those TDs were supposed to go to the Dáil to debate on this centre of excellence and improving the healthcare for Irish women with endometriosis and polycystic ovaries, and healthcare for Irish women in general. And apparently it's been postponed, which is just typical. It is just typical. Sorry, my nose is running. But yeah, here's hoping that 2020 is a little bit less pain-free for me. That's all I want. I just want 1 year where I'm not in pain, but I know I'm not gonna get that. Okay, so I don't even think I've explained exactly what endometriosis is. So it's when tissue that is lining the uterus grow outside of it and on other pelvic organs. And I'm just looking here just to make sure that I have the right description, because there's so much wrong information out there. But yeah, it begins to grow elsewhere, so such as your ovaries and your fallopian tubes, and it is quite painful. Like, I actually can't think of anything that is as painful as, I don't even think childbirth is as painful as it. Childbirth is apparently painful. And then polycystic ovaries is when your ovaries produce cysts, but they can't burst, they can't be gotten rid of naturally. So mine rupture and cause a lot of pain. And then the two of them together, well, my abdomen just lights up with excitement. But yeah, that is my story with endometriosis. Sorry for being a blubbering mess, but I felt like I really wanted to do this video, and I hope I have given you some light into my life the past few years. So yeah, if you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Maybe leave me a comment. Please do. I would really like that. And if you're new, subscribe, and I shall see you soon. Thank you very much.